This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Danilo's free, and it goes to Gibbs White.
First time we've seen them attack them, and there's Brennan! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robinson do. Taylor, one, he scores! And the city ground goes ballistic!
Here's Bob Williams. He's through here! And in the end, Forrest will say it doesn't matter how you play as long as you win it.
Yeah!
Hello, welcome back to Red Side of the Trent for the preview of the Forest game v Spurs on Friday night. I'm delighted to be joined by Flav from the Fighting Cock. Flav, how are you, mate? Are you good?
Not too bad. Yeah. I'm all right. I mean, we're recording this before the Newcastle game. So how I feel about Friday will be completely different to how I feel depending on how the result goes against Newcastle. But the situation that we find ourselves in won't be dissimilar because the injuries, and I'm sure we'll talk about these things, but the injuries and specifically the injuries actually are the reason why pretty much every game we have the same pool of players to play who aren't anything like the ones that started the season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do appreciate you coming on, and as you mentioned, Flav, that we're doing this before the Newcastle game because of schedules and everything. But how's life under Ange so far? I know, obviously, early doors it was really good. There was some questions over how you would fill the boots of Harry Kane, but it seemed to go wonderfully until the last few weeks, it would be said. But overall, what's your feelings about it all?
We've got exactly the manager we need to achieve whatever success is for Tottenham Hotspur, given the fact that we've had none over the last 30 years. Fundamentally, Ange Postecoglou had to come in and change what we'd been for 4 years under Jose, under Conte, and for that brief period in Santo. So his job was to change the ethos and the environment and the way we played football. And so far, he's done that brilliantly. The start of the season, you said, there was 10 unbeaten, 8 games won, 2 draws. We lose Van de Ven, Maddison, and Romero for 3 games. And suddenly the squad looks light. We knew the squad was light. We had conversations about this in the summer transfer window about what do we actually need versus what we're going to get, and how many windows will it take to get what we need to continue to play like we did in the first half. Nothing much has changed, mate, in terms of our style of play. In fact, nothing has. We're still playing front foot football. We're still being gung-ho. We're still trying to influence matches. But the reality is a lot of the time you need quality, and the quality of James Maddison is irreplaceable. It's not replaceable. Unless you've got an abundance of money, like, I don't know. It's like Nottingham Forest trying to replace Gibbs White, right? It's difficult to do. He's a unique type of player. No real club has 2 versions, apart from Manchester City, perhaps, has 2 versions of one player. So it was always going to suffer. And while we have continued to dominate possession, like Villa have been an incredible force this year, and now at second in the league, legitimately, after their win against Arsenal. When they came to White Hart Lane, we battered them. We battered them with this team. We absolutely, how we lost that game was beyond me. But it happens in football, so you accept it. So the reason why I'm going on this tangent is that while we've lost players, the mentality is there, and that's what Postecoglou needs to ensure is the reality for Spurs while he's manager. All of the naysayers are coming from outside of Spurs, of course.
I mean, it really baffles me how Spurs went from Pochettino, which was really exciting football. I mean, I loved watching Spurs under him, and then you went for like winners who played absolutely dross and boring football. Like one of my mates is like, "Oh yeah, let's get Mourinho in at Forest." I'd like, no, because I'd be bored to death of shit football. I've swore. I don't know. We've stopped swearing on this podcast.
All right, that's good to know.
Crap football. But yeah, no, it's a breath of fresh air. I think Ange is one of these really, really likable characters. Obviously, his press conferences are he's he's becoming a character of the Premier League that you liken to like almost like a Warnock, a Holloway. Trying to think of like other managers in the past who kind of come out of
Holloway.
these things, but also he's got this quality and an understanding of like how football should be played, and you're there to entertain at the end of the day, and I really like, you can't really fault him at all, especially even with the injuries like you mentioned, like Van der Ven, you losing him is so crucial. Madison, etc. It's so tough. How has it been? Obviously, those injuries have been so impactful for the last few weeks, but I feel like you've still played really well in a lot of those games. How would you see it, Flav?
Yeah, I think we have played well. The outlier would be the Wolves game where we were appalling, but that was just directly
you were bad.
Yeah, that was a terrible game. We didn't play the way we were supposed to play until the last 15 minutes when he brought on Bentancur and Lo Celso. But yeah, that would be the outlier. That would be the one to go. If we were playing like that during this period of injury, then you'd start to worry, because essentially it would be an abandonment of what Postecoglou has asked these players to do, and perhaps these players are not capable of doing it, right? But the reality is that was just one game. It was directly after the Chelsea explosion of self-capitulation, which meant that the midfield was completely decimated. Bentancur wasn't able. We had no creativity at midfield, and you could see it basically. And then Bentancur comes back in against Villa, and you're like, I can't believe he's back. He's as good as I remember. This is amazing. First start in 8 months. Matty Cash goes for him. He's out now for 3 months. It's like that. There's only so much you can do. And I'm sure Forest fans listen to this. Oh, what a Spurs fan complaining about injuries. But when you see the results and the season somewhat collapse on the back of these injuries, and then you start to pick up pieces and start to think, actually, this could work because Bentancur is incredible. And to lose him. So he's effectively, out of the last 12 months, has played 2 games of football. Managed to play a whole game of football without incident for Uruguay 5 days before. But yeah, the minute it comes back to Spurs. Anyway, look, and it's not just us. You got Forrester got a fair few injuries, I think. And
our main striker injured.
Yeah, it's a good job he's not playing. So yeah, I mean, I can't remember what the question was, but we've been playing a style of football that has been evident all season. Just sometimes in football, results don't happen. Like against West Ham, again, controlled the game. They had 2 opportunities, fortuitous opportunities in that the ball landed exactly where they needed them to land. It could have gone anywhere. But yeah, I'm completely and utterly convinced that how we feel now due to the results is a temporary feeling, and that Spurs will get back on track. I'm not saying we'll win 8 of the next 10 games, but we'll start to get back on track. And I don't think anyone will enjoy playing Tottenham, but you just need bodies back, basically.
Yeah. I've got about 1 million podcasts to catch up, so I'm still trying to catch up on yours and James's podcast. Obviously, James and Flav for now. For people that don't know, go check it out. It's brilliantly hilarious.
Cheers, mate.
and waffle, which I appreciate in terms of football, because it's like football and waffle. It's great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've had this conversation with him, because I know he likes to ask these poignant questions, Flav. But how many games does Ange have to go without winning a game, and whilst playing this style? Because obviously you can play great football for so long, but if you're not getting results, that's what kills football fans at the end of the day, isn't it? So
I mean, if we're playing... I mean, the answer to your question, we did talk about this, and my answer on the pod was 15 games on a bounce we'd lose before I would say, yeah, right, maybe you ain't the right man. That was... Obviously, no manager in world football survives 15 games losing, right? It just doesn't happen. The point is, what would be more worrying for me is if Postecoglou abandoned everything that's made him arrive at this position at Tottenham, all the way around the world, at 57, finally gets his shot at Spurs, and he has always played this brand of football. If there is an abandonment of that, then what is he doing here? What's the point? If he suddenly goes, this isn't working now, I'm going to rip it up and play a different brand of football, I would be genuinely worried. It would be, the writing would be on the wall, and he would be out before the end of the season. So what is more important? That he embeds this philosophy in the players, that they know that they have to play a certain way with this manager, otherwise they won't play. And if it doesn't work, then you replace him with someone else down the line. But do not abandon what everything you've built and every principle of which you apply your football. The players wouldn't respect it. He wouldn't do it because of who he is and all the things he said. So the results, if you believe that in this moment, are inconsequential. To me, it doesn't matter that we lost to Villa. It doesn't matter that we lost to West Ham. Of course, in those moments, it really hurt, but you can see what's happening. Imagine if Arsenal would have sacked Arteta when they lost 3 games on the bounce at the start of the new season. There's calls for it from lots of Arsenal fans screaming for him to go. They were printing T-shirts. Right? That's how grateful they were for him. And look what he's done to them. Like, they're one of the best teams in the league, if not Europe. So, it doesn't matter how many games we lose. Right now, you can see the performances are there. The results are just not coming. That's all. If it was, if we'd had 5 games of that performance against Wolves, then I'd be like, oh, this isn't going to work in the Premier League. For whatever reason, this tactic won't work. But we had 60 minutes of terrible football at Wolves, and the rest has been absolutely fine. It's just the results haven't been there.
Yeah, I mean, I think as if I was a player under Postecoglou, I don't think you could really complain about the style because it's front foot, it's get forward, let's be exciting. I mean, what would you not like about that? It's very it's strange. So yeah, I do think you'll turn it around, but I just wanted to ask a question. I thought it was
it's a fair question.
Yeah, definitely, because I kind of liken it to. I said this about Vincent Kompany at the start of the season, where he was playing this kind of total football with the Burnley side. And I was like, well, he can't play this all season because he's just going to get found out. And he had got found out quite a lot. And then they go and beat Sheffield United 5-0. Go, well, maybe it's a turning period. And then they lose 1-0 in the week to Wolves. And then they got a nice draw at Brighton. So it's one of those, like, hard balance, I guess.
They've talked about Kompany being a bit more pragmatic from the start of the season.
Yeah.
They have talked about that. And I would, he's 3 years into his managerial career.
Yeah.
4 years. And with the Burnley side, playing open, expansive football is very risky because you're essentially going man to man with every club that has fundamentally a better team on paper, more or less. But maybe, Luton and maybe and Sheffield United. But other than that, you look at every other team, they're better on paper than Burnley. So they're trying to go man for man on and style for style with teams that they're going to get beat more than often than not. So
yeah,
but with Spurs, we spent more money than 75% of the league. So if you're spending that level of money and charging the amount of money that it costs to go to watch Tottenham, there needs to be a brand of football that is entertaining, and we need to believe that we can compete with Manchester City and Liverpool and Arsenal on the pitch. And play a similar brand of football as to them. Not do what Conte did, which was to close up shop, be terrified of everybody, and just hope that we can rely on the qualities of Kane and Son to get us out. Whereas Postecoglou has come in and said, no, actually, this is how we're going to play, and this is where we belong. And if you look at the games against Manchester City, a draw was a fair result. Arsenal, I thought we deserved to win at their place, and we beat Liverpool, albeit they had 9 men, but the the VAR
so controversial.
It's controversial if it's Liverpool, yeah, sure, but it happens all the time. So I have absolutely zero sympathy for Liverpool or anybody really who complains about VAR. Are you not Adam, sick to the back teeth of? I'm sick to the back teeth of VAR. I want it to go, right, but it ain't going anywhere, right? Every conversation around every game now is about refereeing and VAR.
Oh, it's boring.
We've got to get on with it. These decisions are going to happen. Just get on with it.
I feel like there's more conversations about referees since VAR than there was 100%. Before. It's 100%. So boring. It's so boring. I did try to find the pod to try and remember what I said about him, but I'm pretty sure I can probably tell you. But I'd like to get your thoughts now. You've had him for several months. What's your early opinion on him?
So my opinion is I will not judge him yet. £47 million looks like a lot of money. But when he has played in his position on that right-hand side and Kulusevski has tucked in, you've seen a much better player than when we had to play on the left. So we've lost. I don't want to bang on about our injuries again, right? But I'm just going to explain why Brennan Johnson is having to play on the left. You had there's three players ahead of him as a left winger. Perisic, he's been ruled out for the entire season. Manuel Solomon, 4 months when it happened, and then obviously Richarlison, who is barely a footballer, let alone a left winger. So Brennan Johnson's been forced to play out of position, and he doesn't look comfortable on the left hand side. And while he had a great assist crossing for Kulusevski. Typically it just doesn't feel balanced when you're watching him. It's almost like he's spent his entire time looking at the pitch a certain way and behaving and reacting to the game of football from the right hand side. But the minute he's on the left, he doesn't quite know what to do. But there have been moments where he lights up, like his pace is, but when there's space for him to run into, it's frightening how fast he is. And some people are being critical of his finishing and his passing, but I actually think it's been very good. And so I think Brennan Johnson is a raw player, one that there is more to come from. And in a system that is settled, where everyone knows their roles, I think he's going to excel and get better. He's an exciting player and has lots of pace, lots of confidence. His head never drops. He's bought in completely. You can see how passionately he celebrates with the other team. He's always at front and center of all of that. And most importantly, Postecoglou trusts him because every time he's been fit, he got an injury straight away, first game, and he was out for about a month, more or less, I think. And but every time he's been fit, he started. So that just shows you what Postecoglou thinks of him. And that's much more important than what I think of him, because what the fuck do I know? I'm not on the training pitch with him. I can just watch him as we do. And I'd like to see him through the middle, and I'd like to see him on the right hand side play regularly. And I'd like to see Kulusevski drop into midfield.
When I watched him against Arsenal first game he started, I saw him come up on the left, I went, I don't know what I didn't really get it, and I didn't think he did that much in the game personally. And then I seen him play right against City, and he got the ball where he took first touch into space for Guardiola, and he just left him for dead. And I was thinking, you've got to play him right side. I said this to you on your pod, Flav. That's what you said. You identified it straight away. He just looks so awkward on the left wing because he's not that player that naturally cuts inside. He's an old-fashioned winger, which it's like a throwback. It's a complete throwback to the 90s and the early 2000s, really, of get the ball down the line and cross it or run or whatever you want to do. But no, it's going to be an interesting return for him. I do expect him to get like largely a good reception from the Forest faithful, and then a constant booing of when he gets the ball during the game, because that's just how it's going to be. It's got to be gamesmanship.
So it should be.
Maybe his international teammate Nico Williams will smash him into the front row of the Brian Clough stand early doors and set the tones. That's what I'm hoping for. But
I don't. You might see him on the bench because I think Richarlison is going to be started, and potentially, we did a preview for the Newcastle game, and we think that Richarlison's going to be brought back into the side for God knows what reason. But he's played on the left a lot for his career, and he can interchange with Son very seamlessly in those two positions. So I think tactically, you might see that. There's always the risk that going back, is there too much distraction for Johnson? Like you say, if he's available, he has to play on the right-hand side. It might happen because of the injuries we've got in midfield that Kulusevski has started to play in like this 8/10 role and not off the right. But you just like what's being asked of Brennan Johnson isn't the same. Would never be asked of Kulusevski, right? You'd never see Kulusevski on the left. They wouldn't play him there because he's too specialist. Whereas Johnson is looked at as a little bit more of has an ability to be a utility player in those two roles. But it's clear that he needs to play on the right. And I think everybody knows that. It's just that the situation is what it is, and he's doing his best to affect the game in a positive way when he has to play on the left. We had a similar situation last season where we had no right winger because Kulusevski was injured, and Conte was having to play Richarlison on the right. And it was the same thing. It was like, it doesn't work out there. He's an inside forward rather than an old-fashioned winger like Johnson. So I'm really hopeful for it and really potentially excited. Well, I am excited about what we might see from him, but what's been asked of him currently is unfortunate for everybody, really, because, like you say, he's not a level guy.
Yeah, going into the game, Flav. Obviously, with I know you're not played Newcastle, so it's hard to really judge. But from the players you've got available, say if everyone got some scathe from today, in a scenario, what would you say is your weaknesses in terms of like certain players in your armor? Because although I really like Udogie at left back, he looks like an absolute hothead every week, but he's brilliant. He's like entertaining to watch because you just don't know what he's going to do, like going forward and going backwards.
I mean, at Chelsea before the Chelsea game, there was no evidence of that, but he has had a few. I mean, he gave the ball away against West Ham for them to go 2-1 up. He's got sent off against Chelsea. But no, Udogie certainly isn't a weakness. He's a strength in our team. And like, if you're going to look at ways to get at Tottenham, Porro and Udogie are probably some of our most effective players. Like Porro on the right.
Yeah, he's sensational.
Yeah, I've seen that. You seem to have watched Spurs as much as I have. Like you seem to know. Like I'm not educating you here, so I don't want to say anything that's too obvious. But sometimes you do these things and people haven't watched you play. But Porro and Udogie, everything good comes through them. They slip into midfield when we have the ball and create essentially two other midfielders that enable whoever the eights are to get forward and into the box. And sometimes even they arrive into the box. And it's why Postecoglou's tactic is really hard to read and sometimes defend against. And partly why it can fall apart is because the players are given so much freedom to make decisions. Postecoglou's spoken about if Udogie and Porro get the ball and they see an opportunity or a space to field, and it's their obligation to make that decision, not based on the tactic or the system here. This is what you need you to do. You need to attack that space and create opportunity from it. And our tactic or our job is to make sure that if you decide to do that, then there is a way of us countering any counterattack, so defending any issues that come from you making this adventurous run. So often you're seeing things you haven't seen in other games. That's again, part of the fascination and entertainment of Postecoglou's football. Anyway, Udogie and Porro are not issues as fullbacks. Ben Davies is an issue. He's done his best. This is the first time I think I've ever seen him play in a back four. Certainly for Spurs, he's never played as a centre back in a back four. He's done it in a back three, but he's done a good job, and I respect it. And he's played over 400 games for Spurs, so it's not like this is a player that we have a fondness for him, but he's not a centre back in a back four, so that's an issue we can be got at there. Midfield, we don't know what's going to happen, really. My preference would be Basuma, Kulusevski, and Lo Celso. But it could be Basuma, Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Basuma, Højbjerg, Kulusevski. I don't know. The midfield is the issue because they're all gone. They're all bloody missing apart from Basuma.
Yeah.
But so that's that's if we're not competitive in midfield or not able to keep the ball, then those are the areas that you can get us at. Obviously, the system is super wide in terms of the wingers, which means there's a lot of space to be counter-attacked on. But my preference would be that midfield of Basuma, Kulusevski, Lo Celso, Johnson on the right, Son through the middle, and probably Brian Hill, but it'll probably be Richarlison.
Fair enough. I did want to get your viewpoint on the situation at Forest and your thoughts, obviously, going into. I really appreciate it. It's hard to judge anything because you're not playing Newcastle yet today. But from a outsider's perspective, as someone who's you can kind of look at it as a neutral, what have you made of the situation at Forest? Obviously, we lost 4 games on the bounce, and then we drew at Wolves yesterday. Cooper's very much on the cliff of being sacked. I'd like your opinion and kind of like what your thoughts are going into Friday, because it does look like we're going to still have him for Friday, but there's a huge siege mentality from fans that would like to still see him be the manager, but there's also that understanding that we've only won once in 12 games, and you kind of can't really ignore that.
Yeah, I mean, is that so? I can't tell from outside whether you want him or you don't want him. I think it's go on.
It's very like, I'd love him to stay because of what he's done, and he's got such a connection with the supporters because he's very much of a man of the people. He gets it. He's come from a similar kind of background almost. He's almost like got that thing of like where he's come from in Wales is very similar to Nottingham. So maybe that's where he can draw similarities. So you want to keep him for that sort of circumstances. But results don't lie. And unfortunately, and we've spent a lot of money, and the owners come out with his ambitions of let's get higher up the league. He wants to achieve sooner than later, which is a bit of a. So I like it, but it's also alarming and a bit unrealistic.
Didn't you go through even period before though, and he was given a new contract? There was a similar sort of. It might not have been as bad as this, but
I mean, I think the situation last season was you kind of understood it because you're a newly promoted side. You've spent a lot of money. You've signed 30 players. It's bloody stupid. So, given the circumstance, I think all supporters were like, well, this is it. Let's just get behind the team. We've not been here for a long time. Let's enjoy it at least and like shout and sing as much as we can to help it. This season was kind of like, right, let's get in. Let's like establish ourselves. Again, it's not quite gone to plan, and we spent more money on better players. So it's
also off the back of one of the worst performances you're likely to see this season from any team.
I thought Everton was really bad, and then Fulham come, and it was like a completely downing of tools. It was like 2:00 on a Friday on a work site where everyone's just like chucked hammer in the air and gone, fuck it. Sorry, I swore again. I'm terrible today. Yeah, that's what that's how it looked from a footballing point of view.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at that and you look at the Everton game. I didn't see that, but I was listening to a lot of the fallout. A lot of Forest fans were ringing up TalkSport afterwards, and I was listening to what they had to say, and they were talking about their admiration for similar to what you're saying for Cooper, but this doesn't seem to be working. And yet, getting a result, a draw against Wolves is a decent result. It does, from the outside, feel like you're coming to the end of your journey together, and that given the fact that Palace have constantly, I don't know if I'm sure you're aware of it, but there's this link to Palace while he's in your job. It's almost as if Palace are waiting for him to be let go, so that at some point, probably at the end of the season, when they're done with Roy Hodgson, he'll walk into that job. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So you got those two narratives running parallel to each other. Forest feel like they need to find something else, and Palace looking to him, Cooper, as the next thing for them. So it kind of makes sense. Sometimes in football, there's this sort of marriage of events that benefits everybody. I would be worried though, right? Unless the players he's lost the dressing room, and that's a horrible cliche because it's very like you listen to ex-players and they say like it doesn't really happen, like you lose in the dressing room, very rarely anyway. Not how you think it happens on outside, where there's an open revolt against the manager or the players refuse to do what they're asked to do. They don't down tools. They do get on with it, and they do just to the best of their abilities play out there whatever's been asked of them. But what you probably lose when people get fed up is that 5%. So you're not giving absolutely everything. And maybe that's what's happening at Forest. But, as popular as he is, it's a shame. And it would be a great thing if he does leave and he should do on good terms, because of what the reason why we're having this conversation right now is because of him. So, yeah. But the worry though is who, if not him?
Yeah, I mean, there's been, I don't know his first name, weirdly enough. I didn't actually look it up. Glasner, who took Eintracht Frankfurt, won the Europa League.
Has he been linked, has he?
Yeah, him, Lopetegui, and they're the two main candidates. And then there was a thing that come out that in the Athletic from Dan Taylor, who's a writer for them and a Forest fan, and he said that the ownership's ambition was actually to have Marco Silva as a manager and take us up, but unfortunately he was at Fulham and then took them up. So yeah, that's an interesting one. So
right, so if you have the opportunity for Glasner or Lopetegui now, given this situation, I think that's an upgrade. Glasner, I mean, The question is, would Glasner have been able to do what Cooper has done? Probably not. But can he do what Cooper can't right now? If that makes any sense, then probably look at what he's done. His reputation was we were linked with him constantly. Is he without a club then?
I believe so. Yeah. Weirdly.
Wow. All right, that's not true. But Lopetegui's an incredible manager as well.
Of course, yeah. Well, both won the Europa League, haven't they? So.
Yeah, but then Gary O'Neill's got much more out of Wolves than he got.
Seems like a siege mentality there, like a big FU and fingers up to the rest of the league with Gary O'Neill, which I really appreciate. To be fair,
yeah, of course.
He's completely changed my perception on him as a PE teacher to an actual half decent manager.
Would you have him at Forest if he was available? You wouldn't. That's the truth.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but it's an interesting one. But how do you see the game going Friday night? I know it's difficult to say, but Friday night under the lights, it's always I'm sure it's the same at Spurs. Great occasion, great atmosphere. Everyone's finished work. It's a lovely time until the football starts.
Yeah, I'm always confident, and like I say, that our performances haven't dropped. It's just the results haven't come. We will have the same set of players that we have had for the last month or so. So I'm always confident. I feel like we will win, and look impressive doing it. But there will be opportunities for Forest. But how have you, in terms of possession, how have you been setting up? Has there been a defensive block? Because the best way to beat us is to nullify the possession by sitting back, soaking up, defending well, being organised, and then taking your opportunities when they come. That's how Villa did it, and that's how West Ham did it. Because we looked a little bit blunt in an attack in terms of putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, at home I think we've tried to be on the front foot against Everton. We had loads of possession, but we're absolutely awful with it. I think apart from Villa, I think we tried to be more possession based. I think against Spurs, I can see it being what it was against Wolves, where we went back to what we know with a back five, 3 in midfield and a 2 up top. But to be fair, against Wolves,
that's a good opportunity. That would be, you could probably get something out of the game if you do that.
Against Wolves, we had a really good period yesterday where they could not get out of their half for love or money. So there's opportunity there. For sure, I feel like we're gonna have to contend with with so many more moving parts that Spurs will offer, because you're gonna get runners from left, right, and centre. So it's gonna be difficult. But
yeah,
I think if we can try and frustrate you for as long as possible, we might nick something, especially with the crowd behind.
That's it,
Cooper, as we said. So
that's it. How's Sergio getting on?
Oh, he's awful this season, Flav.
Oh, shit, really?
he's what all Spurs fans described him as this for us. But last season he was incredible. This season he's been a shadow of that player.
I always liked him.
I still really like him. He was against Everton. He was so bad.
Really,
it was unbelievable. Yeah, he was like pointing to the ball when it was never going to go out of play. Like for someone else to go, like Serge, you're meant to be going to get the ball. But it is what it is, yeah. Largely, I like him, but he's been rubbish this season. It's safe to say. But what are your score predictions?
I'm going to say 3-1 Spurs.
I mean, it was better than last season. I guess you won 2-0 with Harry Kane being the difference there. But
we weren't. That wasn't an unconvincing win. If I remember,
you were
correct.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say it. You were rubbish. It was Conte, boring football, but you won, and I would rather win than play lovely football sometimes.
No. I mean, not after 3 years of it. You wouldn't. You'd be like, we've never. I think we're in a similar situation as we were last year in terms of points amassed at this stage. It can't be that much different. And I was so miserable last year. Yeah. I didn't even want to watch my team play. Like, imagine that, not wanting to watch your own team play.
It's a different feeling though, I think, for Spurs fans, because you know you're never going to get relegated. You're never going to be in that danger. You never say never.
No, of course.
But you're never going to get relegated.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it would take something absolutely catastrophic for us to get relegated. Yes, because fundamentally, what you spend on wages is roughly where you end up in the league. So for us to have that amount of quality in our squad because of the amount of money we're able to spend. If we were to get relegated, it would be. I mean, it happens. It can happen. Santos. I don't know if you saw Santos in Brazil got relegated for the first time in their entire career. History of the club.
Yeah, their striker for January. To be fair, but I think he's going to go on to bigger and better things.
Who's that then?
Marcus Leonardo, I think his name is.
How much football do you actually watch, mate?
I don't watch him, but there's a lad who's a South American, like he does a magazine, but he's a Forest fan, and we've had him on here for so I follow him on Twitter, so I just get all of my information from Nathan Joyce. So I give him a plug. He does the Copper Club. If you're interested, Flav, it's good stuff. He gets like Tim Vickery on and people like that and on there. But he knows a lot of, because we've signed a lot of Brazilians like Murillo's. You'll see if you've not watched him this season, he's bloody brilliant. He's too good for us. So at centre back, yeah, he's really, really good.
Well, we need centre backs.
Yeah, well, we want more money than you paid for Brennan Johnson for him.
Really?
He's a far better player. Like,
what we're talking 60, 70 million, that sort of money?
I'd want 100 million because he's going to win the Champions League one day, this kid.
Really? He's that good?
He's that good. Yeah, he's raw, but he's that good already.
Shit, all right. What, is there anyone sniffing around him?
Not yet, but I'm sure. I don't think it'll take long. I seriously don't think it'll take long.
If Spurs somehow sniff around him and score, buy him, then we'll do another pod. But I don't think we're looking at that to replace what it's. The rumor won't go away is Lloyd Kelly trying to bring him in from Bournemouth.
That's a downgrade for you guys. No offense to Lloyd Kelly, but he should be.
The issue we've got, in the same way that we've got with Kane, is you need someone who is willing to not play, because Van der Ven and Romero are not going to start if they're fit.
Yeah.
The fact is that Romero can't not be suspended. Like he gets sent off once every 18 games. And Van der Ven has a hamstring injury. So, you need a player who's better than Ben Davies, but not as good as Van der Ven, who's just happy to do nothing on the bench. It's a tricky situation.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Flav. I know,
Pleasure,
like I said, I've mentioned loads of times you've come on before the Newcastle game, so I appreciate all the insight you could give our listeners, not mine, our listeners. So yeah, I appreciate that. Good luck for today.
Cheers,
Newcastle. Not good luck for Friday.
No, fair play.
Because we need it. We need a win. We need to keep Cooper or get rid of Cooper. In one way or another, we're going to know more information come Friday night. So that's, I think, a good thing in a sense.
Even if he keeps you up and he stays by the end of the year, and not that will happen, then he's still going to go, right? He'll still feel like.
I think that. I said that at the start of the season. To be honest, I think we'll check. He won't be our manager next summer.
So why wouldn't it be better if there is a world where he does enable you to stay up, and it's not like they're Luton, like as good as they have been at home, in terms they're good, they're still losing games. Sheffield United, I don't think Wilder has enough to keep them up. I know they won yesterday.
Even though they won yesterday.
They did win yesterday, but it's like new manager bounce. There's a buzz around the place. Probably getting a little bit sick of Heckenbottom, so that worked. But I don't think Forest go down this year.
I hope not.
That'd be nice. If they do, was it not the end of the world? Is that what you're saying?
I think that it's got a possibility of getting very toxic. That's the Forest fans are very much like that. There's no in between. There's always a very extreme at both ends of the scale.
It's the same. It's the same as Spurs. Like there are people starting to go, well, when do we start to question Postecoglou? Why can't I? Why can't I question Postecoglou? It's like, well, you can, but what's the relevance of it? What are you saying? That Postecoglou isn't like you don't think he's the man? Okay, well that's fine.
You're having a great time, Flav.
Having a great time. It's so much fun.
I'm so much fun.
It's 15 games into, or whatever we are into in the season. It's what we are what we are right now won't be what we are next season. Everything's going to be much better.
I think what makes it probably worse in your case is this barren spell has happened 5 games in a row. Do you know if it had been dotted in between, no one would even be questioning it. Everyone would go, oh yeah, new manager, it's going to be inconsistent, blah, blah, blah. We look good. Once we click, it will be fantastic. And that's how it goes in football. It's timing. It's so much about timing.
Of course it is. And you have to do your best to block out all the nonsense. Like, Cooper talked about how it was amazing that his players could ignore the sideshow and just get on with their football. That's what's important. You just ignore the narrative around it. You ignore every single time Gary Neville gets the opportunity or Carragher gets the opportunity to call us naive, he will do it. It's all nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. Their opinion is not relevant.
Brilliant.
We just got to carry on. Cheers, mate.
Nice one. Thank you very much, Flav. If people want to check out Fighting Cock, they can. Japping is also one that you always plug in it, which is I love it. It's waffle and football. It's great. It's like Atletico Mints, but with more knowledge.
Is that true? I've never listened to that, but I've heard good things. The James and Flav for Now podcast. We're doing our second ever live show in London in December, so sold out. So you can't come
up north. It's more fun up north, Flav.
I don't think in my head, right? No one up north listens to it. Like it's
from me then.
Yeah, just you. You're Midlands, though, aren't you? Is that offensive?
Yeah, but everyone always says like anything past the M25 is north, isn't it? So,
for us, it is. Midlands. But how do you identify in Nottingham?
We're Midlands, aren't we?
Yeah, Midlands, exactly.
If you go Sheffield, you're north.
Yeah, Sheffield's definitely north. Maybe we will do one in the north. Maybe we will. Do it. All right, pal.
Nice one. Thank you very much, Flav. Take care. Speak to you soon, and come on, you Reds.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.